So we just got married a week ago, and I have been initiated to what sacred union means in the past probably 4 months. So this video is going to have 4 parts to it. The first part, I'm going to share with you my personal initiation to sacred union. In part number 2, we're going to dive into what is sacred union. And I'm going to share something a little bit more that you may think about sacred union. The next part, we're going to go over why sacred union matters. Why is it so important? And again, there's a lot of layers to it, so stay tuned because we're going to dive into all of this good stuff. And the last part we're going to dive into is the path of sacred union and what it is asking from us. I'm so excited to dive in, and for this video, as you can tell, I have my wedding jewelry that really fits this energy because I feel like that was the night where me and my partner really made it happen. There was so much of that energy in the space and it was so magical. We got so many comments from people who arrived to our wedding saying that they felt in our wedding in ways that they never felt before, and this is how they want to feel every day. And to me, it's wow, it just kind of confirms to me the power that sacred union has. So let's get to it. So one thing me and my partner been having as an intention for our relationship, for our lives, is to be two whole people that are choosing to be with each other every single day. And I feel like in a lot of relationships out there, and not to say that we're perfect, not to say that we're there by any mean, but this is our shared intention as a couple, and into as this is what we want to have in our lives. And a lot of the times what happens even in our relationship, and especially when there's an unconscious relationship, is that we are almost like feeling each other's certain roles. Like, I need this, this, and this from you, so you're gonna play this role for me. But whenever we're not playing certain roles or project into our partners in that way, and we're instead operate as a sacred mirror, that's when there's so much growth, there's so much healing, there's so much evolution that is happening individually and in the relationship. Again, like I said, it was like months before my wedding day of me really understanding what is sacred marriage, and that it is actually something that starts within me. And this is something that I'm going to dive deeper into later in this video. But I remember I did a visualization one day, a couple months before the wedding. And in this visualization, it was a really, really important moment where I was in this place, in nature, and I was able to connect with my own inner masculine and my own inner feminine. And I just felt I could feel energetically the imbalances that there was between them. So I just basically had them standing in front of each other and looking into each other's eyes for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And every time that I came there, in the beginning, there was no green. It was just bare branches, no green, no flowers, no anything. It was like a naked forest. And with time, every time I would come back there, I would start seeing that there's more balance that's happening within those two energies. And the more the balance was happening, I could see there was more, it started to become green, and then it started to be flowers around. And I just want to say that within my own inner masculine, my own inner feminine, each one of those has also inside of them inner masculine and feminine, and each one of them has their own inner masculine and feminine. So the way to balance it, those energies, is so it's infinite, right? It's like fractals, like everything in this universe. Leading up to the wedding, this is kind of something that we've been working on. And I'm not going to talk about all the other things that were happening around the wedding. The wedding portal is a really powerful portal that really brings up a lot. And there was a lot that was coming up. So I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm probably going to make a whole YouTube video just talking about what was happening and just about a wedding and how it went and what was that about. So we got into our wedding day. Our wedding day was magical, beautiful. And then the day after the wedding, that's when I was being initiated to what sacred union means, and I was initiated in a very, very, very harsh way. So we gathered together a few close family and friends and really dove deep together. It all started when my husband looked into my eyes and told me, "I'm willing to die for you." That moment when he said that, there was something in me that was getting triggered. I think it was probably like a combination of many things, but one of the things that was coming through is like there was like intense fear from like a past life that was kind of bringing this thing up, like almost like as if it's something that already happened. It triggered this like sense of intense fear and how much like I don't trust anyone. I don't trust anyone, and I only trust my husband in this situation. I had to go into such intense fear and dark place in order to truly learn that I can allow my husband to be there for me. I can allow him to hold me. I can allow him to protect me. Unfortunately, this is the way that I had to like learn it, because I'm noticing like throughout this process of like getting married and stepping into this union with my husband is that there is a huge part of me that is dying in this process. And this part of me is this part of me that is independent, that is, I only trust myself. I do it on my own. I don't need anyone. I've got myself. And this part is dying, and it's not a small thing. It's like a really, really huge thing. And there was a lot of layers that were playing that night on a spiritual level, an emotional level, and mental level, and just like all the levels. The bottom line, I feel like it was almost like fear. I wasn't able to feel throughout my life because I never felt so safe to feel this intense fear. And when he told me these words, "I'm willing to die for you," it's almost like something cracked open in me. It's almost like touching a layer that I was never able to touch, even when I was a little girl. And then for days after, it felt to me like my adult self is left the building. Like she's not around. It was only my younger self. And it felt very unfamiliar. It felt very disorienting for me. I felt like I don't even have the vocabulary for it because I've never experienced anything like that. But it felt like I was very vulnerable and young, and I felt in a very like raw place, almost like defeated and weak, but not in the negative. I know it's like more like negative words, but like more in like the positive sense of what it is, like really allowing myself to be defeated and weak and allowing myself to be held and to be supported. And one thing I was noticing too throughout the night, that there was like a backdrop of thread of this is what sacred union means. I learned a lot about what does it mean to truly honor myself? What does it mean to truly honor my partner? What does it mean to truly honor our commitment, our vows that we made a day before? And the thing that I'm learning about sacred union is not always love and hugs and candles. It has this like image. Sacred union is this like magical, beautiful love that is sacred. But in order to truly step into sacred union, it is freaking painful, okay? Because in order to be in true sacred love, everything that is not that has to move, has to go. And guess what? When it has to go, it comes up, and it's all comes up, and you literally experience all of that. And that's what I feel like I was being initiated to. For me, it showed up in a place, in a way of like trust and fear. And for my husband, it was showing up in a way that is more like shame or self-hatred. And it was like we were both being initiated to what does it actually mean to step into this marriage in a very intentional and devotional way, that like we step into in what we're creating together, what we have been creating together. So I think it's really important to understand like sacred union, whether if it's on an individual level, whether if it's in partnership, whether if it's collectively. I'm going to go into all of these layers in a little bit. it's not a smooth, beautiful process. It is a painful process that everything that is not that is being shown to you, is being brought up, is being moved out of the system. And that can be very jarring and very scary. So to me, that's why I said about that night is like, it feels to me like I was being initiated to what does it mean to actually step into sacred union, but in a very harsh way. And last thing I want to share in this part is there was a lot of like spiritual things that were happening for me that night, and it taught me a lot about like discernment. And because there was like this dark energy, like this ancestral dark energy that was getting into me, that was like trying to tell me like, ooh, I have something to teach you. And because I was reacting from a place of fear, it's literally, it was waiting in the room to mess with me. And when my husband said to me these words, that kind of like triggered that deep fear in me. And it's almost like that's when this energy was like getting into me and kind of messed with me and planted a seed of doubt in myself, a seed of doubt in what I do, a seed of doubt in everything that like, it's almost like as if I was trying to explain it to someone the other day. It feels to me like everything was burnt down. Like the entire city was burned down, and now everything is growing like from scratch. Like there's a tiny seed that's coming out of the burned city that's coming out, and that's where I feel like I'm kind of building something new. And yeah, I feel like this is not the way that I prefer to learn lessons, like with like dark energies. But since it happened, there's to me like a huge learning experience in that, because I feel like I learned a lot about discernment, about responding, about presence, about truth, about love, about real power. And the one of the facilitators that were there with us, they told me, yeah, in order for you to truly be able to be there for others when they are going through like those types of stuff, you have to experience it. Like in order for you to be able to hold space for real for people who are going through stuff like that, like those really intense things that are coming up, this like dark, deep fears and shadows, you have to experience that. And one thing that is interesting for me is that I am noticing like this trust in, like, I don't think it would ever happen for me if I wasn't ready for it. If I wasn't ready to actually face it and see it and be with it. And I don't think that's the case for everybody. This is the way I trust that whatever is coming for me is the way that it means I'm ready for it. So when I work with clients, I always invite them to speak to them, to their body, to their soul, and say the sentence, please show me only what I'm ready to see. And that way you're kind of creating that no matter what comes up, you're ready for it. And by the way, if you're someone who's interested in that type of work, if you're really going into your inner work and you specifically want to work with your own inner masculine and feminine and create that inner sacred union within you, I want to invite you to check out the link in the description below and schedule a free discovery call with me where we can go over where you at, what is it that you want to work on, and see if we're a good match energetically. Okay, next part of this video. What is sacred union? To me, sacred union is not only when we're talking about partnership between men and women. To me, sacred union goes from an individual level, from within me, from within you, to then partnership, to then collectively, planetary level. And of course, there's a lot more levels, but this is the main three levels that I like to speak about on my videos in general. To me, it's not just about romantic love. This is about like really stepping into commitment, really stepping into truth, into highest universal capital T truth. It's about aligning ourselves with that highest truth and unconditional love. To me, it's about balancing. It's about balancing my own inner masculine and feminine energies within me. It's about having that balance within the relationship, because guess what? It starts with me. When I'm balancing my own inner masculine and I'm creating harmony and balance and wholeness within me, I feel like a whole person. I don't need a partner to fill up certain roles in my experience, because I have this wholeness within me. And if my partner is doing the same thing for him, in my case, my partner is doing the same thing for him, he's on the same path for him to create that harmony and balance and within his own inner masculine and feminine, and with his own wholeness. And then we both, from that place of wholeness, we're choosing to be with each other every single day. And from that place, we're acting as a sacred mirror to each other that is really challenging sometimes. It's really confronting sometimes. It brings up a lot of stuff that are really uncomfortable to look at, but ultimately it leads to growth. It leads to evolution within as individuals and as in partnership. And to me, this is spiritual devotion. This is not about perfection or fantasy. It's about coming back to our wholeness, coming back to the truth of who we are. It's about remembering who we are in our fullness that most of us has forgotten. And that's something I talk a lot about across my video. It's something that we have forgotten, but it's something that we have to be aware of and set an intention that this is what we want to work on, that this is what we want to call in. And to me, I had a client come in yesterday, and she was in my wedding, and she told me, like, I want to feel every day the way I felt in your wedding. It was the most magical, beautiful wedding. I felt so good in my body. We were talking about that, and she obviously wants to attract partnership that is conscious. She wants to attract that sacred union. And we were talking about how this is something that starts within us. How when I am working on creating that sacred union within me, I'm automatically going to vibrate on that, like on that level of frequency that is going to attract that person that is matching that frequency. So to me, when I'm talking about sacred union, it's not just in partnership. Of course, this is the way that is very common that we're talking about, when two people coming together and really stepping into that union together. To me, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter if like you're doing this first and you're doing that first, or you're doing this second. And it's kind of like an ongoing process, I feel like, and there's always like more pieces of the puzzles to like integrate as long as we're on this human experience. But and again, it doesn't matter like what you're doing first, but I do feel like sacred union, it's not just something that is external of you. It's something that has to happen within you. If you really want to integrate it fully and to really be immersed in it and living as sacred union, it has to start within me. It has to start within you. And the last thing I want to say about this is sacred union is an initiatory path that is going to reveal in front of your eyes everything that is out of alignment with unconditional love, everything that is out of alignment with capital T truth, anything that is out of alignment with wholeness. And let me tell you, this is a tough path to walk. This is not for everybody. This is a tough path to walk because it brings up your deepest traumas, your deepest fears, your deepest like patterns, your deepest shadows, like the things that you really don't want to look at, that it's so uncomfortable and maybe so ugly sometimes to look at. It brings it in front of your face. And not only it brings it in front of your face, you're not moving away from it. You have to sit with it. You have to be with it. You have to look at it. You have to engage with that in whatever way, shape, or form it looks like. So going back to what I started when I started this part is, it's not just a romantic love. This is like an initiation, like a true initiation. So why sacred union matters? We're going to go into the 3 layers: self, partnership, and planetary. On an individual level, it heals the split between inner masculine and inner feminine, between action and rest, between logic and intuitive. So it's like imagine like two pieces, like yin and yang, coming together. It awakens us to our true nature, to our wholeness, to our purpose, to our gifts, and to our sovereignty. In partnership, it brings conscious love instead of projections. It transforms relationships, like I said, to sacred mirror and devotion. So it really like triggers a lot of growth and a lot of like, I mean, I can tell you, since I met my partner like 2.5 years ago, I can tell you that the amount of growth and evolution that we both experienced within our individual lives and together as a couple has been absolutely mind-blowing. And the last piece that's really important here, it creates deep, deep, true intimacy instead of codependency. And on a planetary level, is whatever we're seeing out there, all the fragmented reality that we're seeing out there in the world, it's just a reflection and a mirror to what's actually happening inside of us. And I talk a lot about this, like about this topic. I actually made a whole YouTube video about that really talks about that, like really going into the neat and greedy around that. So I want to invite you to check out the video above, or I'll put it in the description below so you can watch it after you finish watching this video. The more of us as humans who integrate sacred union within us, balancing our own inner masculine and feminine, coming into wholeness, when we embody that, that's what shifts human consciousness. That's what raises human consciousness. That's what is building. It's already here. We're already in it. That is what builds new earth. It's the human that is integrated. It's the human that is whole. It's the human that is rooted in love, in truth, and in wholeness. So we're seeing it a lot on the planet right now because, as you can see, there's a lot of chaos that's happening across the globe. And a lot of it is because there's a lot of people that are awakening. Planet Earth is awakening on her own. And this is why it's going to impact us, the ones that literally living on top of her surface. She's raising her consciousness. We're as individuals, as human beings. And if you're someone that you're watching this video, you're probably experiencing that too. There's something in you that's awakening. If trust me, if you're not someone that is like vibrating on that frequency, this video wouldn't even land on you. So there's something that is happening collectively, and a lot of people are coming back into the wholeness of who they are. And like I said earlier, sacred union is not an easy process. It brings up a lot of crap. And on a collective level, this is what we're seeing. On the collective level, this is what we're seeing across the globe. You don't need to be a genius to put this together. But I just want to invite you to, if you can, if you're not driving or anything, to close your eyes for a moment and just imagine yourself as a true integrated whole person that is balanced, that is harmonized, that is aligned within you. And just imagine your neighbors like that, your family like that, your friends like that. And just imagine this continues to ripples out to more and more and more people across the planet. And then I want to invite you to imagine, I'm just inviting you to really imagine, like, what would happen if more of us became whole, if more of us became integrated, if more of us brought all of our parts of ourselves back into ourselves, what if all of us came back home to ourselves? So this is, to me, this is why it's so important. This is not only something that's going to impact you and your own individual life, it's something that's going to impact your relationships, and the entire freaking world. Like, the entire planet is going to be impacted by it. The entire planet is already impacted by it. The last part of this video, the path of sacred union, what it asks of us. So like I said earlier, this path is not an easy path to walk. This is very confronting. It's really having us take radical self-responsibility and ownership. It requires us to be vulnerable. It requires us to look into our shadows. It requires us to really dive into our fears, into our traumas, into our what's in the way. It's not even about digging for traumas and for healing, because as you know, I always talk about it. This is endless. This is infinite. If you're gonna try to look for things to heal, it's never gonna end. So it's not about that. It's about processing through and being with and acknowledging and looking at and being present to whatever is in the way of you being in that wholeness. Like whatever is in the way of you coming back to that wholeness, coming back to that truth of who you are. This is a deep path that involves a lot of intensity, and it involves deep intimacy, which a lot of us are really afraid of, including myself. I was super afraid of intimacy for a very long time, and I can tell you that I'm still afraid of it with certain people. I can tell you that it's something that I'm actively working on, but it is something that I'm noticing how many of us on this earth have this deep fear of intimacy. Like, I'm not talking just like connecting with someone, surface level stuff. I'm talking like deep intimacy. Like, imagine taking off all of your masks and connecting with someone else from that place. So here are a few things that are super important if you choose to walk this path. Number one, communication and sovereignty in relationships. Speaking your truth vulnerably, like revealing what's actually here in this moment instead of manipulating, instead of controlling, right? So like there's all these ways that we're manipulating and controlling, and a lot of that is unconscious. But the more you can bring conscious and awareness to these patterns, to these ways of relating, to these ways of communicating, the more you're going to be able to actually step into what does it mean to be sovereign, to be true, to honor myself, to honor the person in front of me, to speak my truth, to reveal the truth, to be vulnerable. And this is super crucial. The second thing is to fully embody that truth, like to really like bringing it down from like an idea to your body, to like fully embody it. So it's like in the way you walk, in the way you speak. Like you don't even need to convince people that you're on this path. Like it's just, they can feel it energetically. And this is where the embodiment of stuff are really important, like really bringing it down to earth, really bringing it down to your body. To me, what I really like to do, I like to meditate a lot. I like to video journal a lot, which I talk a lot on my videos. I like to lay on the earth when I'm integrating stuff like that, like a lot of laying on the grass, like a lot of grounding on the earth when I'm integrating stuff like that. And also my own practice, which involves a lot of somatic work. Really feeling in the body, like what's in the body, what are the sensations, what are the feelings, like really bringing it down, like really allow it to fully integrate in your everyday life. Another piece that I'm going to share here, because this is something that really came up for me around this initiation, is spiritual discernment. Like, discernment is so crucial. It's discerning what is out of alignment with this highest truth and what is out of alignment with unconditional love. And this is something that takes practice, at least for me, it's something that takes practice. So the piece that came for me around that, specifically that night after the wedding, is that when I was reacting from a place of fear, I allowed those energies to come into my field. And what I'm learning is that instead of that, what really is important, and it's actually something that I have experienced before, it's just like in this moment, everything just happened really fast. And with what he said to me, it was like just all happening like really fast. But it's like really about like slowing down, take a deep breath, and finding that place of equilibrium within me, within my stomach. Maybe I can ask nature to help me to find that place within me. But it's like really to find that place, and from that place of peace to set a boundary, to say no. Where if like I'm coming from a place of fear, that, and it's fine to have fear, it's okay to feel the feelings of fear, but not react from that place. And also you can use a lot of energy clearing practices, rituals, and really finding your own way to anchor in your inner truth. So the way I personally like to do it is I like to do it through deep chakra work. So if you someone that wants to start working with the chakras and you want to dive into this deep energetic level type of work, I want to invite you to check out this video above. It's talking about how to start balancing and opening your all of your chakras in a very deep and sustainable way. I'm also going to put it in the description below, and I also have a free chakra guide for you. So if you feel called to dive into the concept of chakras and really diving into what does it mean to actually align ourselves from the inside from an energy like level, yeah, I want to invite you to grab this free chakra guide in the description below. And I want to thank you so much for watching. And I want to hear your comments. Like, where does this catch you on your own sacred union path? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever got into it? Like, where are you with it? What's your thoughts and comments? I would love to hear your insights. And maybe if there's something that you learned on your path that I haven't, I would love if you could share it in the comments below.